again with our friend and returning champion Tyson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's kind of a struggle to make it through the Vermont heat wave of the low to mid 80s in late May, but you know what? I'm looking forward to some summer weather, and it's supposed to be beautiful on Saturday for the first home game of the season.
How exciting! How exciting! I'm pretty amped up myself. I did get out and mow the lawn today, which is great because I will be going away to Needham for Saturday, and I'll miss for the third consecutive season the home opener. And I'm getting some head shaking here from our other friend who's joined us again, part of the OG crew, Tyler the Creator. What's up, man?
Hey, friends. No, I'm shaking my head because I'm jealous of you. I went to mow my lawn
Oh,
and my mower had crapped out. So I'm just jealous. But yeah, excited about the summer weather, excited about the home opener, excited that we're going to have warm, sunny weather for the home opener. Nice change from last year when we had, torrential downpours like 70% of the time. So yeah, big weekend ahead.
it is a big weekend ahead, and of course, for anybody who is listening and doesn't know yet, I don't know how you don't know, but in case you don't, 2 p.m. on Saturday is the home opener for the Vermont Green, uh, and we'll be playing at Virtue Field. Come on out and support your local soccer team. And if you're just hearing about us for the first time, it's a great experience. You're going to go out. There's going to be lots of stuff for families. It's family friendly. It's going to be lots of crazy fans in the southern end of the stands, and lots of chanting and good food trucks, good beer, and good ice cream provided by Ben and Jerry. So I think it's Saturday is going to be an awesome time. Um, all that said, let's get on to what we've been talking about on our Slack chat, which is the first two away games of the season. So far we've played two games. First one was against Boston City FC, and I'm going to let Tyson go ahead and start us off today. What did you see with the lineups? When our lineup, because we didn't really get much from Boston City. Obviously, there was a lack of a stream, etc. Um, Tell me what you thought of our lineup starting.
I mean, starting obviously, Lobovitz up top, Pacella, the main central holding midfielder, um, and really the wonderful backline that we have of Threadgold, and then either Fisher or Dreschler, Ndai, and then Castillo. That is as fearsome a defensive foursome as you're going to see in this league. I think that is, with the addition and subtraction of maybe, a few substitutions or replacements if we've got a close run of games coming together, or on a friendly or something like that. I think that some combination of those five players is what we're going to be seeing week in and week out. And I'm sure that if Boston had been able to actually provide a stream, we would have seen some very nice defending going on.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Um, I was trying to keep up with all the chatter going on. I wasn't I wasn't able to even take a chance at watching the game, watching the stream that didn't exist. Tyler, what did you think? What did you think about our first lineup of the season? Did you actually think that we're gonna see some different players than we expected, or was it a complete surprise, or what did you think?
Yeah, there's some familiar faces, and which was nice to see. And I think we're still working off the added benefit of having that run of Open Cup games. So new players like Labovitz is not new. We got to see him 2 games in Castillo, and but yeah, it was a very strong attack minded lineup, which makes sense considering who we were playing. And I think starting the season on the front foot is a great way to start. Uh, not being able to watch the game, there's so, we're left to sort of speculate what actually happened sort of during the course of play outside of the goals and the few updates that we got. But yeah, really nice mix of new and old players, and this is always a funny time of year for USL 2 teams because the seasons are really short. So it's not like you have like a whole extended season to figure out how people fit in and how the system works. And then there's just the added variable of sometimes players leave after like 5 or 6 games because they're really good and they move on or something happens. And but all that being said, I think my impression from this game and from the second game that we actually got to watch is that like there's just a ton of talent. Like Tyson said, the back line I think is going to be phenomenal. I've been super impressed by Castillo, just his ability to move up and down the side of the pitch and deliver like pinpoint crosses. And I mean, he's fantastic. And very excited about a lot of the new guys I got to see in practice. But like, again, we have like that core group of folks coming back. They're nicely sort of scattered throughout like the back line, the midfield, and the front line where you're like, there's some institutional knowledge there. There's some like awesome guys who like know the team, know the system, know the fans, know the culture. And it's just great to see people like Musa and Daniel and Zach Senge and Bazzini coming back and keeping things going.
And in the Open Cup games, we did get a really good taste of Jacob Labovitz too. I'm missing Pierce O'Brien right now, but that's okay. But I mean, we have some players that are coming up through that we're all excited about. I think as we like Tyson said, as we get into this season, like it's going to be really the fixtures are going to come hard and fast, right? Especially right off until we get into like maybe July where things slow down a little bit and games spread out. But like the fixtures, they do come quickly in this league because they have to get through. They have like 800 teams in this league and they have to get through their playoffs, and their playoff structure is huge. But that all said, I mean, I think that with Boston City and throughout their history in this league, we got what we expected, right? I mean, the talent we have on this team, there's no reason to think even fathom for a second that we were going to get beat. Looking at some of the players that they have rostered, I think we were talking about it just before the pod. Tyson was saying that they have like a sister club, Boston City FC, down in Brazil. So there are a lot of players from South America that are, what did we say, like late 20s to mid 30s that are coming in and playing on this roster. And their main striker, like we were saying, is from Equatorial Guinea. There was no reason that we were going to lose that game. And if we had, it would have been, I think there would have been some major shakeups in the next match's lineups. So we had no stream. We didn't get to watch any of the game. Thank goodness for the video crew at Vermont Green for getting some quality video of the goals and that kind of stuff. We got to see some familiar faces. We got to see some new players, and what a great showing for the first game of the season, and a very important win to get that one out of the way and get everybody kind of started on the right track.
It's almost like when a restaurant has like a soft open and you're like, that went well. Like, and it's not like high risk, and it gets everybody sort of like on the same page and people moving in the right direction and in sync. And it's a gentle way to ease into the season, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
It was a very nice, solid, business-like victory. Nothing crazy, but like nothing from what I could see from like the like Twitter feed or anything like that made it sound like there was any kind of catastrophic error that the Green had or anything like that. A nice workmanlike victory.
I like that workman-like. Yeah, just go out there, do your job. Put your hard hat on, do your job. You get a lunch break, and then go back and finish the job. So let's move on to the one we did get to see. Again, at least these guys are trying. We did get to see, although without sound, which was kind of tough. But because there was no sound, I didn't have a problem sitting through a meeting with my phone in front of my face while the meeting was happening. Sorry, Deb, if you're listening, but BlackRock. BlackRock is a team who's been all over the place in this league. They've been in New York. They've been, I think, in Massachusetts. They were in Vermont for a season. Now they're settled in New Hampshire, down at Colby Sawyer College, I think, is where they play their home games. It was a kind of a weird setup looking at their stream with the stand so far away. It was like, I think Tyson had mentioned it on the Slack, and then like my daughter comes in the room. I got to watch the first half at home. My daughter comes in the room. She's like, "Why are the stands so far away?"
They're also 50 yards away from like the center line of the field. It's ridiculous.
Also, those are all Vermont Green fans in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to some of the Vermont Green guys, and they ran through the rundown of like there's the bus driver, and it was all our friend Chris Prizzo, and it was just all Vermont Green fans filling out the very small, very distant stand. So shout out to our traveling crew of supporters.
I saw Chris had posted some stuff with his daughter, some pictures and stuff, and
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So we had some changes in the lineup this time. We still got Labovitz, we still got Zach Zengay, still got Castillo out there and Musa Pichella, but we did get to see Reed Fisher for the first time. Now, I think it's very important to have a center back pairing that trusts each other and that kind of knows which way each other is moving. And again, these early games is kind of a test of who works together where in the system that Pfeiffer likes to run. I was very, very high on Reed Fisher. Still am. It took a little bit of time, it seemed, for them to kind of get going defensively. I think the attacking was always there, but defensively they got put under pressure really quickly. I mean, Tyler, what did you see in that?
Yeah, it was nice to have a stream. It was a little difficult because it was basically at field level, slightly elevated, so it was hard to see anything past the midpoint of the field. But yeah, there seemed like there were some shaky moments, and it's it's early in the season, but there are definitely some moments where it never felt like it was out of control, but it just felt like there wasn't that sort of like lockstep understanding between the center backs and sort of like the back line playing the ball out. By the second half, I feel like that had been resolved, and there's just some really nice controlled passing and playing out of the back, and there weren't any sort of those like, other than one sort of moments of panic where like, oh no, things have gone off the rails. But yeah, it was a changed lineup, and at the end of the day, we have to give credit to BlackRock for being I don't want to say a surprisingly strong side, but like a consistently strong side. I remember we've had some tough games against them in the past 2 years. They field a good team. They play a solid game. And up until Yaniv scored that second goal, I was like, this still could go either way. They're a solid team, and I think we did a really, again, nice workmanlike job of winning the game, not conceding a goal, and I could see them being a stumbling block for Western Mass or our friends in our other friends in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say, like Tyler said, I really get the feeling that this was much more a case of BlackRock playing a really good pressing, swarming defensive game that they were able to transition really quickly out of defense into attack that was really causing a lot more trouble for Fisher and Ndai than necessarily like communication issues or anything like that between our back line. Honestly, they defended an awful lot like the Vermont Green defend. It's swarming, it's pressing, it's hard tackling, get in there, get the ball, distribute the ball right after. I think that is, from where I sit, that's a very high compliment to the way that they were playing. And, again, like Tyler said, up until that second goal, that Bazzini goal, they were really, really revving the engine to try and get back in that game.
Yeah. I honestly think like when you play like that, I think that eventually they're going to be teams that kind of start to adopt our style if they want to compete in this league, in this division. Adopt Pfeiffer's kind of style. The way that Vermont Green plays, and Dan and I have talked about it in the Tactics podcast. The way that we play, we make teams run at us from the outside. That we cut off all the passing lanes in the middle, and make them play to the outside. And luckily, we have that advantage of Vermont Green has that advantage of having players that can do that if the channels in the middle are cut off, they can play through the outside. I think this game really just came down to the quality of player, because BlackRock played a very good game. And like you said, they did play like high intensity swarming defense, and they did it the entire game. I think, the last 15 minutes or so, they were very tired. And we just were able to bring on quality after having quality on the field. You have somebody like Bazzini who's going to come in, and Bazzini is not necessarily one of these guys who is a speedster, or he's got great footwork or great skill on the ball. And I hope he's not listening to this, because he's probably going to hold me to account. But or maybe it'll be good if he does hold me to account and he'll score a few goals on Saturday. But he's not one of those guys who's going to be a speedster. He's really, really smart. He's really intelligent. He knows where to be to receive the ball to foot. He's really, really good at making smart runs when he needs to. He puts himself into positions to be successful and score goals. And I thought his goal was probably, it looked, to the naked eye, especially with the video we got from Vermont Green after, to be kind of like one of those tap-in type goals. But he made such a smart run and snuck in behind the defense, and yeah, it was a tap-in, but it was because he made that happen with what was Castillo, right? Who put that ball in.
Castillo had both assists, and like the assist is amazing, but like it doesn't happen without the intelligence to be there and to make that run and to be in the right place. It looks easy for the final like 2% of it, but you've done all the hard work to make it look easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about Castillo a little bit, because this guy looks like he's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. He could very easily just be a frontline winger. He could play. It looks like he could play kind of anywhere, in an attacking sense. But what did you see out of him, Tyler, like defensively?
Great recovery speed, obviously, and just like he's just like in my mind, he's a classic modern wingback. Just like he's going to make these blistering runs up the field. He's got really strong crossing and distribution. And oh yeah, by the way, he also plays defense when called on. But like the attacking threat that he presents is just phenomenal. And but and which is just mission critical when you're in a situation playing against a team where you're not going to have those central channels or those runs through the middle of the field. To have somebody like him is phenomenal, and I really thought the interplay between him and Gatto was great. There were times where I couldn't tell who was where because they were just switching so fluidly. So Already great signs of a partnership there. And to be fair, I think on the other side, Thread Gold and Ernest Bala were also moving really nicely. Just hard to see in the first half because they were way on the other side of the field. Just they were there. It's very small. Yeah, man, Castillo's just been phenomenal.
Defenses are going to be run ragged by both Thread Gold and Castillo, trying to go, like, when they get on their horses and go into counterattack mode after, shunting an attacking run over to the wing, getting the ball back, they're going to launch themselves upfield at speed, and they can either carry the ball or they can make some beautiful passes up to Zenge, Labovitz, Benzini. They've got, both of them have the tools to just be massive threats for us.
Yeah. And my guy Zach has scored in both games so far. So love to see it. That slick little chip was
that was a slip chip. Come on now. Like
that was
as
come on, man. No. I think it was totally intentional, and it was a cheeky little chip over the top. Lionel Messi about 20 years back for Barcelona. Zach's one of these guys who can score from distance. He can score. He can score from from beautiful footwork, beautiful work on the ball. He can put crosses in from the midfield. The guy never ceases to amaze me. It's obvious why he got drafted by Columbus. And we're so fortunate and so happy to have him back. And the other guy I want to shout out to is Bawa. He's I don't even understand how Pfeiffer gets these guys to come here. He must have sold his soul to the devil at some point to get some of these players to come here, because, like you said, like Thread Gold, another guy who's back for a second season, right? And we have the fortunate. We're very fortunate to have these players that are probably maybe on the edge of being too good for the USL too, right? It's just a pretty cool time to be a fan of Vermont soccer. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. So leading into the home opener, what are your thoughts like going into it? I know that this is like the home opener is not necessarily one of the marquee games that we're gonna play in this season, but this is like the home opener sets the tone for the rest of this season, right? Obviously we had the two games, two away games to start the season, but Tyson, what are you looking forward to the most in this home opener, outside of losing your voice?
I mean, I will probably lose my voice, and that's fine. But I mean, like he said, it may not be, a marquee matchup, but it is, it's getting the party started again after our great run in the Open Cup, which was so much fun. We all got to get together and sing and chant a little bit earlier than we do on a usual year. But, I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone in the stands again, get folks chanting, get folks cheering, get people excited. I mean, people are going to be excited anyway because it's the home opener, but it's just it's so much fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's less of it's the game is obviously important. I'm not worried about the outcome of the game. One, because of just who the team is, and also it being a home game. But thinking about it for like new players who weren't here for the Open Cup games. Like it's gonna be their first experience walking out into a packed Virtue and seeing what it means to the fans and what it means to play in front of like a Vermont Green crowd, and that's going to be awesome. I feel like that's going to be like an amazing experience for any new players who weren't here for our early games. And then it's a chance, just like Tyson said, to reconnect with people in the stands, for the players, see players you haven't seen in a long time, and it's just I was thinking about this watching the footage from the last game, where it's like, imagine being like a new player on another team in our division, playing a couple games either at home or at other clubs, and coming up to Burlington and being like, oh shit, like there's like 2,500 people here who are all deeply involved in the game. What did we walk into? Like, that's got to be such an odd feeling. And maybe some of these players have had that at other clubs or get that in their college experience, so it's not totally shocking. But like within our USL division, it's got to be a pretty amazing feeling for our players and a pretty potentially jarring feeling for visiting players. So yeah, I'm excited for the game.
I'm excited to watch on the stream again. Last year the game, the home opener was on a Friday night. And Ian and I, Ian from Vivid Coffee, were watching on his little tiny phone at a picnic table at a gathering we had for our soccer club, our children's soccer club, which we may not end up being together this year to watch it, but I'm sure there are going to be lots of fans watching from Needham, Massachusetts, and Wellesley, Massachusetts, this coming weekend, because almost all of the clubs are going to be going down and fielding some teams in that Needham tournament. So I will be able to get to the second game, which is against BlackRock, which is Tuesday night. But my favorite thing going into Virtue Field, and it's almost like when I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was walk into Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Not like outside of it, not through the underside of Fenway Park, but walking out and seeing the field. One of my favorite things is being with the Green Mountain Boys with our march from our parking spaces, at Gutterson Arena to the field, and walking out and up that stairwell after getting your first drink or whatever, with your flags and shouting and walking through the fans and getting into our seats. My favorite thing is the anticipation and getting out into that sunshine or even into the rain and getting to our spot. That's my favorite part of that game, of going to Virtue Field and experiencing what it is to be at a Vermont Green game. I didn't have this type of experience as a kid. We didn't grow up. The three of us didn't grow up in soccer rich communities, or have places that had, I didn't know anything about soccer until I was, other than World Cup stuff, until I was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s. So this for me is kind of like, I can't, it's like being a kid again. I can't wait to get out there, get with the friends. That said, Pathfinder is another one of these teams that is like kind of a wild card. You never know what's going to happen, right? They, a mid-table team, a mid to low table team, probably a mid-table team. They're gonna end up beating some teams that they probably shouldn't, and they're gonna end up losing to some teams that they probably shouldn't lose to. It's just one of those things. In order for Pathfinder to be successful, I think, against Vermont Green, they're going to have to come out and score an early goal, and then sit back and hope to God that they can just defend for 60, 70 minutes. I mean, otherwise, I think they're going to get run over. I don't think it's going to be a Boston City situation where it's like we just kind of end up on cruise control, but I think that Vermont Green is going to be. I think the crowd is going to be too much for Pathfinder, and I think the crowd is going to be is going to give Vermont Green energy to play that full 90 minutes.
Well, I mean, Pathfinder, I think that we were talking about this on a previous pod. Pathfinder came in fourth last year. Pathfinder was, just outside of the kind of elite of our division, and they got run over by Western Mass 4-0 in their first and only game that they have played so far. It is going to be a very big task to try and both fight off the green, the crowd, and when those dulcet tones of Tom Proctor start announcing the Vermont Green lineup, you know that that's going to put some chills into the legs of the opposing team. Just seeing how fired up the entire atmosphere is going to be, especially for the home opener, and only having one other game under your belt where you got steamrollered, I don't think that that's a great recipe for success.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, largely because of like the U.S. Open Cup, and just sort of thinking about like lower league soccer and non-MLS clubs and leagues, and nothing would make me happier than to be in a USL 2 division where every game was potentially close, where there were like decent to solid turnouts for all the clubs, where there was like a real sense of like, oh, like the Pathfinder like supporters group is like talking shit, or like we're gonna hang out with them in the parking lot, like just to have like I want other clubs to have what we have, because at the end of the day, the more you have that sort of level of quality, whether it's like branding or support or the actual game on the field, or God forbid the ability to like broadcast and stream your own games, like it benefits everybody. And there's just like such a massive incentive to like have all the teams in your division be at the same level as you. And so like yeah, that like to me that's the dream. Like I want USL 2 to like really succeed, if not across the board, certainly like within our division. And yeah,
I mean, like, how much fun did we all have when the supporters from Kingston Stockade came up?
Dude, that was
and
great.
Like party? That was great. They came, drank some beers with us underneath the parking garage.
Gave me a terrible cucumber beer.
Yes,
was
it was
really
not
bad.
great. And then we all pulled the stereotypical Vermont thing, and everyone brought IPAs for them to go and bring home. And just because we assumed that they'd all want a Vermont IPA, but they were,
as one does.
or
even when we went down to,
they were still excited about the beer, but like, like Tyler was saying, how much more fun of an experience would it be to have, other groups of supporters who are as excited, as into it as we are, as other people are throughout USL 2 and USL 1. Like, yeah, I mean, it's such a missed opportunity for so many of these clubs, like Space Ghost and Western Mass has fans.
The Western Mass game that we went to was actually phenomenal, and it was
phenomenal.
There were fans there, like they were into it. They were awesome. We had nothing but a good experience there because they were super supportive and of their team, but also like just nice people. And that's like that was like a disappointing game in terms of the results, but as far as like a game day experience, that was great. We drove down, we had an awesome away day, and it was great seeing fans of another club actually show up. So yeah, I would love to have that at home and away. It's like that level of support for everyone.
And hopefully when we do play Western Mass again, a game that I will be in Maine for at a different tournament, that they bring some of their fans with them. A lot of those folks were great. They, we talked to a bunch of them, and
super nice.
It's super nice to the point where like you had to have cash for their vending, and Tom and I didn't have any cash. We just had our cards. So Mr. Proctor went across the street to the Portuguese club to get cash, and in the meantime, some lovely gentleman bought our beers for us. So, I mean,
we need to return the favor at some point.
exactly right. Exactly
So
right.
that guy, if you're listening for some reason to a Vermont Green podcast,
Yeah, for some
we owe
reason.
you a beer, and you remember doing that.
I don't even care if it's that guy. I'll just buy somebody a beer
Yeah.
if they come. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So getting through the next couple of games, home games. We'll have 2 home games. We'll have had 2 away games, and hopefully a brilliant start to the season, because that's when things start to get a little tough. Legs get tired after playing, playing 4 games in a period of like 10 days. Um, and I think that after the 4th game is where we're after that second home game is where we're going to start seeing lineups kind of solidify. Guys, we're going to start seeing going to start seeing on a regular basis. And I think right now a lot of guys are interchangeable. I don't know what if you guys feel that there are going to be any mainstays outside of, say, Labovitz, Bazzini, Zach, and Musa and Daniel. Like those guys, I think are kind of mainstays. I think you'll see a lot of Labovitz and Bazzini, flip flopping now that Bazzini's back with the club, back at home in Vermont. I think that we're going to see a lot of flip flopping of our goalkeepers too, until somebody decides to take the reins and say, "This is my spot." Competition between players creates great players in my mind. And when everybody's competing on the field in practice, it's going to make the product on the field that much better. Are there any guys that you expect to stay here outside of those ones that I mentioned, like stay in that 11?
I think it's so hard to predict because, well, for a variety of reasons. I think for a lot of like the totally new guys, it may be 4 or 5 games or 4 or 5. Like it may be a stretch of practices and games before they get up to speed and understand the system and just the expectations and just settle in. And so there very well may be new guys who are going to be regular starters who just haven't, clicked or secured their spot. And I also think, again, like it's just there's the wild card element of like, nice, this guy is our guy. He is our first on the sheet. In this position, and then they get recalled or called back for, like a higher level gig or to an academy, or they get like a great opportunity. So it's just, who knows? We may, like in the first season, we may see like almost like a 2-team season, or slow transition from one set of starters to another as things shift and move. And so it's the nature of USL too, but it's also kind of exciting because I think there is a chance to see so many players versus just like a set 11 every week.
Yeah, and like I'm, just kind of looking down this roster, obviously we're going to see more of Pierce O'Brien. We're going to see more of Said Haji. We're going to see more of, obviously, Reed Fisher. We've got Dreschler. We've got Leighton. I mean, there are too many talented players on this team to not give them playing time. And, I'm, just kind of looking at the schedule. Like you said, Mike, that quick turnaround from Pathfinder into BlackRock. I think that BlackRock game on Tuesday, May 28th, we should, or we probably will see some rotation at that one. I think we're going to get a chance to see a very changed team for the Jubastar friendly. I think that we're going to see some younger players, some
of the kids. Yeah, we'll get to see Ayub Lahar. Like he's a very exciting player. Dan and I looked at a lot of his stuff from Vermont Academy and Brattleboro High School. Like super exciting player, and hopefully he stays with us for a long time too, because and he may even break into first team at some point. He's one to look out for the future. But you're right.
Yeah. And I mean, like, all of this is really kind of building up to kind of the, like, you know, the first couple of games, it's obviously you want to win as many games as you can, but this is building the base for basically the 2-week stretch in June where we play Space Ghost over on not the coast of New Hampshire, but Epping, New Hampshire on Tuesday, June 11th. That's an away game. Then we have a home game on the 15th against Western Mass, and then a away game to our second game against AC Connecticut the following Tuesday. And also during that time, Western Mass and the Sea Goats play each other as well. And remember, they only play each other one time. So, again, I know I'm going to keep on griping about it at every opportunity I get, but like that 2-week stretch in June is going to be like that 2-week stretch, and then that final away game against Western Mass in mid-July. Like that is going to really put the, like, is this going to be a really good season, or are we going to have to make up some games and hopefully see Western Mass or the New Hampshire team drop some points somewhere?
Yeah, and there's also the curveball of there being a third playoff spot again this season. So yeah, I'm not sure what that does to the planning or the mentality of the team. I think the goal is still to outright win the division, but it does add sort of like another element of like it's okay, I guess, to not to not have.
No, it is not. We want trophies in our cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming from a Spurs fan.
Yeah, I was saying from a Spurs fan, that is, yeah.
We want trophies. Don't you sit there and laugh. Don't you sit there and laugh, Tyson.
Hey, West Ham have a Europa Conference League trophy. Thank you very much. Yeah. Celtics just won the league this year, even though, you know, my beloved Aberdeen are in the shit in the Scottish League. But I'll laugh at Spurs all I want. Thank you very much. My second
because you constantly fucking beat us for some reason.
That Lanzini goal is still chef's kiss.
Yeah. That game should have been put away when Bale came on. Are you talking Lanzini? That Lanzini goal was that game, right? It was a COVID game, right?
Yes, it was. It was a half volley lance from like 30 yards out.
Yeah, Bale came on like immediately. It was like his return to the club, his first match. He comes on and immediately scores and was like marginally offside, and and we lost. Well, we didn't lose it. It ended up in a draw, right? So
it was a 3-3 draw. Yeah.
But we were up, and we should have put it away, and we didn't. So, God, I missed the Prem already.
Hey, that just means more getting amped up for the green.
Listen,
more amped up for the home games. Dude, it's going to be great.
I will say, I've heard from more folks who I think have either not been to a Vermont Green game and are planning on going, or whose first games were during the Open Cup and are like now super into the team. Like, I think there's going to be a momentum and a turnout for this home opener and for the season that surprises all of us, which is just awesome. Like, I've heard from people been like, oh yeah, like invite the whole family out for the weekend to go to the game. Like, it's things are going to kick off in a really spectacular way and just get better as the season goes on. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited for, even if you are a Spurs fan.
You guys can always pick on me. I'll always invite that shit. And it's completely fine. You know, I grew up a Red Sox fan, so I didn't know how to win until I was in my 20s.
Yep.
So that said, before we get onto our final thoughts here, because we are coming to the end of our time together, I do want to do a little housekeeping here. We are United in Green Podcasts. We are a Wicked Sports Podcast Network production. We do have Wicked Spursy, which is a Spurs podcast. We also have Talking Tactics with Coach Dan, where we break down some tactics from the Vermont Green. We break down some of the players. And Dan will be back. He's out on business with work right now, but out in Las Vegas. But he'll be back, and we'll have some discussions with him on some of the tactical stuff that he saw from Vermont Green in his time away. But you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. If you want to email us, ask us any questions that we can address, you can find us on United in Green Podcast at gmail.com. And we're also partnered with the Blazing Musket. The Blazing Musket is a New England soccer website. They support New England Revolution of the MLS, Hartford Athletic, Rhode Island FC of the USL Championship, and our very own Vermont Green. They also do some reporting on some other team in New Hampshire, but I can't remember who that is. But they're a great website. If you can go on and do their paid tier, they put out some great content, and we're happy to be partnered with them. But let's get on some final thoughts. I got for final thoughts this week, and hopefully I'll do this every week. I've got a little. I'll pick out a nice little subject to talk about for final thoughts. So, final thoughts this week, because it is the home opener, and because we just had a little drop today, we're going to talk about predictions and favorite food trucks, and we're going to talk about the new kit drop. And I will flip my bottle cap here, and Tyson, call it heads or tails.
Tails.
Tyler, you go first.
Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played. What was it? It was the system's rigged. Predictions. I think we're looking at
for both games, if you can.
For both games. I think we're looking at a 3-0, 4-0 against Pathfinder. I'm feeling confident in the team and in the setting, and this being our third game and things really clicking and players really come to the fore. So 3-0 or 4-0, something in that general area. Favorite food truck. Honestly, guys, I don't know if I've ever had food at a Vermont Green game. I think my favorite food truck is the Beer Line.
I was going to say that was going to be my answer. My favorite food truck is the beer tent. Yes,
I will say some of the stuff that Poppy, you and Jim, you cooked up before the games has been phenomenal. We do a good job of feeding ourselves in the parking lot, so I'll sort of take a pass on that one. New kits, dude. I think they are the new Alpine kits are extremely clean and fresh, and there's two things I wanted to say about those. As a graphic designer, I appreciate the fact that if you look at all of the Vermont Green kits over the last 3 years, like there are no repeats. They're all like unique stylistically. It's not like you're buying the same like red and white striped variation over and over. It's like an awesome variety, which is great. And also big picture, like most clubs aren't updating their kits year to year at all,
right,
let alone with amazing new designs and new looks. It's just like, hey, it was blue last year. It's the same blue this year. You may or may not be able to buy it. We get to have like designed new kits every year, amazing photo shoots to announce them. Shout out to Patrick McCormick, who did some like phenomenal photography work up on the slopes. So yeah, I'm a fan, and I think I think I can see myself wearing one of these new kits in some hot weather conditions and feeling extremely cool and looking very good. So I'm a fan.
All right, Tyson, I'll let you go now.
I I'm terrible with predictions. I feel like predictions are a pointless exercise in hope and
Well,
futility.
you just called the cap flip correctly, so I feel like this is just your prediction skills are being underrated here.
Well, maybe, but
Was he correct though?
huh?
He called
The
tails.
the outcome was ideal though. He got the outcome that he wanted. So
Yeah, which
Well,
means I guess.
I was going to say, truly, Mike could have chosen whatever he wanted to because he didn't make the declaration beforehand who would be going where if it was heads versus tails.
fair enough. Fair enough.
It's Miller High Life and the back of the cap. Those are the heads and tails.
Anyway, I will predict that it is going to be 3 or 4-0 to the Green in our home opener. I think that the turnaround game on Tuesday against BlackRock is going to be a much closer fought game. Obviously, we know how BlackRock can play because we just played them. I think that that is going to be a changed squad. So I think that we are looking at a 1-2-0 victory on that second game. Like Tyler said, he stole my joke. The beer tent is my favorite food truck. I have had some pretty good food there in the past, but yeah, the stuff that people go and bring to have in the pregame tailgate, like that's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good.
I mean,
And
Christian has and his wife have brought little flatbread pizzas before.
Yeah.
We've had cookies, I believe, cooked by Will's wife, or maybe they were Christian and Nicole as well. But like everybody comes and brings something to the table, and it's great. Terry has made cheesesteaks. I mean, and speaking of Terry, thank you for this lovely little fluffy clouds today.
Good choice.
Yeah. I had to do that today. But my predictions, again, I like a 3-0 win for Vermont Green and the home opener, and the turnaround game against BlackRock. I think it's going to be a tight first half. A lot of butt clinching, I think, in the first half. I think they're going to overwhelm. They're going to overwhelm them in the second half. The crowd's going to get to them, and honestly, I think that Vermont Green wins this 3-1. I think that we concede our first goal of the year, but I do think Vermont wins this game going away. And as far as my favorite food truck goes, I have a huge love affair with broccoli. So for me, anytime Broccoli Bar is not there, I get very, very, very upset.
Broccoli Bar is amazing.
It's outrageous. You got to get
yeah.
the full deal. Like yeah. So I love the Broccoli Bar. As far as the kits go, for me, I just hope and I'm not saying that that we have peaked early on our kits. This kit for me, I'm gonna have to wait till I see it in person to make the judgment. Because we're putting all these kits out, we're putting training kits out every year. We're putting out pregame kits, and the pregame kit for me, it was stunning, outrageously stunning. It was stunning when I saw it on my phone, and it was stunning when I saw it in person. It's just a really nice kit, and the new design on the shirt too looks like it might fit a chubby guy like myself. So the new one is it's a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's maybe not my color, and not for again, I'm a chubby guy, so
I think
the
it's
lines might not work. We'll see.
I think it's hard to tell until you see things in person. And
There have been some Spurs kits that I have like detested, and then when I saw them like in person, I was like, oh, that's actually really nice.
yeah, sometimes your instincts are right, and sometimes like I saw the new Liverpool kits in person, and they're as bad as they look in.
You're talking about the Minecraft ones? Or
No,
this year's?
the new ones with like the like weirdly super wide embedded collars
Yeah.
and like the screensaver pinstripe pattern. Yeah, but yeah, I think it's yeah, seeing things in person definitely can change your perspective. But yeah, man, it's a totally different style, but I think
Yeah.
that is a cool and
It's a
memorable choice.
hallmark. It's a hallmark of what we get from somebody like it's a hallmark from somebody like Matt Wolf. Like it's we're lucky to have him. And no matter what, like I just don't want people to get kit fatigue. You know, I don't have kit fatigue. My wife and my bank account might have kit fatigue, but honestly, I just want something that, like, for me personally, fits nice and looks good. And everything that Matt has done, I think it has been a hit and will continue to be hits. Like we're just lucky to have him on our team. So, all that said, we've come to the end of our conversation today. We've done almost an hour here, fellas. Almost an hour. It's the witching hour. It's time to go to bed.
It's bedtime.
It's definitely bedtime. It's time for everybody to say goodnight. I have to get up early, get the haircut, and head off to Needham, Massachusetts. You guys can go to work in the morning. Tonight, lay your heads on your pillows and enjoy some sweet dreams. Until we see you guys next time, probably next Thursday, we'll have a couple more games to talk about. And until then, up the green.
Up the green.